Okay, so we're going to talk about Brett Cooper today. Now, as I've said, conservative women like to signal that they're different or special. And the problem is they're exactly the same. They will always revert to feminist talking points because at the end of the day, and you got to ask yourself this, Brett Cooper, when her back was against the wall and she got fired from the Daily Wire, did she option A? Did she option A? She could have option A, said, okay, we're going our separate ways. Did she option B, do a full crash out, or option C, option B is going online and talking bad about her employer? Didn't do that. But I would say what she did was actually worse. I would say it was worse in the simple audience, not you guys. You guys are red-pilled here, but they didn't pick up on it, is that she played the victim and the hero at the same time while pretending, made a whole media storm out of it, played the victim, played innocent, while she's making millions of dollars talking for a living. I just couldn't believe it. I mean, this company gave her everything. Do you know how expensive it is to make a movie for her? Do you know how expensive the lack of gratitude with women? I just can't. I can't. And I really was disappointed in her with that situation. You know, as someone, I've enjoyed her content in the past. I like her takes on some stuff, but it's just very obvious that, you know, because all these girls, what happens is they're always magically feminist in college. And then right when they get famous, they're magically, like, do you know what it's like? Like she said she was pro-choice in college, right? And I'm thinking, so magically when you get famous and rich off of being conservative, and Candace Owens, it was the same thing. I found out she sued, I had no idea. I guess she sued her high school, and this is alleged. I know I'm butchering this story, but I know it was something with her suing her high school for like a hate crime or something. And the way she told the story, Candace, I thought she wasn't involved, but she got like $100K from doing it. And I'd have to look it up again. But you guys get, my point is this, it's always magically after they're rich and famous. So now Brett Cooper is going after red pill men. She's saying that people don't want to date women, why women don't want to date red pill men. And I'm going to show you how even quote unquote conservative women will always revert back to feminism. Always, always, always. Because when their back is against a wall, they always have got to pick the victim card. So remember at the Daily Wire, she felt like her back was up against the wall. She sent all of her followers after her friend. Let's just call a spade here. Candace Owens did you would think, you know what's so funny? You would think the Daily Wire would learn and stop hiring women, but they doubled down. They hired 2 women. I'm like, have you guys learned nothing? So what'll always happen is they'll say, oh, I'm traditional, and they'll use their families to build their brand and still nag and shame men. And we got to remember, can I do the whiteboard? Yeah, okay, I'm going to do the whiteboard first. Just just to remind you guys, now, if you're a true conservative woman, not me, but I'm just saying, like, if you truly are what you say you are, you know, I would never think, you know, I can aspire to live, you know, to do the best I can, but I by no means am under the illusion that I am traditional, right? But this would be the natural order of the world if you fall under this viewpoint, right? God, man, women, children. So if you believe in this natural order, you believe you are below men. All men. Yep. And that's always what women miss. They always want to make it subjective, right? They want it to be, well, I can't submit to all men. And I'm like, I mean, you kind of are supposed to some extent. Like, there's a baseline natural respect you're supposed to, and authority you're actually supposed to give men just because they're men. They don't like that one. They don't like, and I maybe I'm not the one to be saying this, you know. I can be a bitch, right? So maybe I'm not the one to say this, but you'll notice the tone that conservative women use towards men is as if they are here. Like, what authority do you have as a woman to say that these men hate women? Do you know what I mean? It's kind of like, what authority as a woman? Like, imagine if you think you're below men, then you're not nagging them, you're not telling them what to do. You know, you're taking orders in general. Obviously, you're not going to do that with like the homeless guy on the street. I understand. We can use extreme examples, but I would say, you know, most men that are participating in normal society and not, you know, being criminals or whatever, you're supposed to, a baseline respect is supposed to be given if you believe in that worldview. You know, I mean, it's kind of like when you get that Southern belle and she just goes up to the men and it's very sweet and charming and she's like, yes, sir, can I help you, sir? You know, because she's issuing that respect. Oh, can I get you something? Can I do this? She doesn't say, well, you hate women, nah, 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 nah. Or she doesn't say, it's like when women say what men should do. Like, imagine, these are your two choices as a man. Now, mind you, you probably have zero of these choices, but like just in this fantasy world. Option one is woman who says, you should do this, you should do that, you should do that. Well, and you know, you see Brett Cooper, she always goes back to, and this is all women pretty much, unless they're like, I don't know, I think I've maybe met one woman ever, maybe, that has this attitude, so. And she had to be humbled by life. Usually the way women get this attitude is humbling. Usually our life delivers us an L, because when we're young, we're treated as if we're here. So Brett always goes back to the egalitarian model, which is as if she has the right as a woman. And if anything, even the above model, which is as if she has the right as a woman to tell men anything. Okay, I think that's all I got right now for this, but I want to can I keep this up? Because I want to go back to showing this is how it's supposed to be. This is what the ideal is supposed to be, all right? I can just set this there. Okay, so, damn. All right, Brett. Now remember, if you're going to complain about my tone, just remember, this is a man's world, and while I am not a man, if you enter a man's world, you get treated like a man. I don't complain. Yeah, you can, you know, this just is what it is. All right, let's go like...
has shamed a whole generation of young men into thinking that they are inherently monsters or predators or less than. It has turned them inward. It has made so many men insecure and feel like they don't actually have a place in our culture and our society, when in reality, you men are so important. I say this all the time. You are the backbone of civilization. You are the backbone of families. We literally cannot exist without you. And yet that has not been the message that you have been receiving from pundits, from Hollywood.
But I'm going to show you, Brett, they don't even receive it from you. Now you could say, oh, we need men. But when you speak to men as if you're above them, it goes back to the egalitarian model and not that model there.
Girls on college campuses, whatever it may be, from podcasters, that is not what you have been hearing. And interestingly, a recent British study revealed that nearly 50% of young men reported feeling that being a man is not a source of pride for them, which is just insane. That is the core part of your being. That should be something that you love about yourself, that is so integral to who you are that you should be proud of. And the fact that 50% of young men say that that's not even a thing anymore. And this is what some of the participants had to say. Quote, there are a lot of negative stories about how men have treated women, which makes people assume that all men are the same, which isn't the case, commented one 20-year-old. Another young man said, there is a feeling that men are responsible for patriarchy and you feel a sense of guilt. Although things were this way before I was born and in spite of personal effort for equality, these men are trying. They have they've tried to respond, and yet they still are made to feel so guilty and so out of place. Another one said, social media is damaging to men's mental health as a society. We have an expectation of what a man should be. This puts pressure on men to live up to this expectation. So in trying to connect with current events.
Remember, what these women do is women in conservative media have a tendency to marry for money. They do not marry for love. And I could say this, I don't even mean this in a mean way, but when your average conservative female commentator marries into $4 million, and there aren't that many men on average that make $4 million a year, please forgive me if I think you're in it for money. I mean, I think as a normal person, Brett Cooper said that her husband made more money than her. Well, if I look up Brett Cooper's yearly earnings, that means her husband's making over $1 million a year. So again, what they do, and I'm not saying this to hate on her, if anything, I actually, she's one of the few that I predict to stay married. I do. I think her husband's 3 points higher than her in terms of status, looks, etc. I think she'll stay married. Just like I think Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift will stay married. Sorry, shoot me. I think they will. But maybe it's just the girl in me. I can't stop it. But so this is not meant to be an insult. This is not an attack. This is just a statement. Women go into conservative media. They tend to marry for money, just like women that interview your UFC fighters. What do you think they're what do you think is the goal there? Women that go into finance, who do you think they're at? Women that go into conservative media go into it for usually white conservative donors, politicians, other commentators. Anyways, so when it comes to Brett, what they do is they signal, we don't need money. All these women have these high expectations, but if you look at who they're dating, it's the same stats as, they say, these women, they say the men have to do so much, but if you look at who the women marry, it's usually 6 foot, 6 figures, very good looking men. I'm happy for them. They played the game and they won. But my point is we can't watch what we say. We got to watch what we do,
It's yeah.
Until she figures out how to divorce. I don't think she'll divorce. She makes too much money off of being married. I mean, she would lose everything if she got divorced. I mean, I guess Megyn Kelly did make it through a divorce. But she didn't have a kid with the guy. I mean, I kind of think that nowadays marriage doesn't mean much, but a kid kind of does. A kid is really, because people will be married for 10 years, no kid. If they divorce, there's no attachment. Once you have a kid with someone, so she's pregnant, I am impressed. She's letting out a baby faster than the other TradCon women. But the problem is, again, we go back to, they'll signal traditional, or they want traditional values. But when it comes to giving up power, women just will never do it, right? I'm not saying that they should do it. Right? I'm not even saying that I would recommend she does it. But what I'm saying is it's not what they're selling, right? That's kind of how it goes. Hey, thank you, Brett. I really do appreciate you covering this today because I didn't know what to react to. And when women have a tendency, not all women, but when you guys give dumb takes, it gives me something to do. So I appreciate it. Thank you.
No wonder young men moved to the right. No wonder in 2024, young men came out in droves for Donald Trump and J.D. Vance, who, they might not be. Yeah,
I know. They say they care about God, but you never see the women marrying these very recluse, deeply religious men, it's always rich men. You know what I mean? Like, so again, they'll like wear the crosses. They might wear the modest clothes and say, I love God. And this is what I'm saying. Modesty, I was having this conversation the other day. Modesty only counts if you're hot enough where being immodest gets you something. Because I'll give you an example. So Brett, she's cute, right? But I would say for her age group, facially 5'4". For her age group, because she's young, she's overall a 6. That's what I would put her. So if she competed in the being naked division, she would get blown out of the water. She would get nothing out of that. You know, if she was being naked next to like swimsuit model, she couldn't compete in that market. So obviously the mids are going to go to conservative media because I mean we can't make money being. So it's kind of like modesty by convenience. You never see women in here that look like, I don't know, Megan Fox. You know, you don't really get them. Oh, I can be judging her with that. I would actually put her face above my face. If I'm really being honest, I really would give her a better rating than me. I really would. But again, that's like battle of the mids. It's like, you know, I would give her a point higher than facially than me. She's younger. I mean, you see what I'm saying? I would give her an overall better rating. But I can't judge because I have eyes. And I used to do casting. This isn't to be mean, but remember, I have to judge. When I did the thumbnails back in the day, I would pick the women who I knew would get the most views. And Brett would be cute, I would say, in the general population. But again, it's because she's young for her age group. I wouldn't put her above a 6. I really wouldn't. Yeah, and it's not to be mean. Being a 5 is normal. Most people are 5s. People think I'm insulting you when I say this, but 4 to 6, that's most people. Actually, maybe a little less because Americans are fat.